Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. Thanks for stopping by to catch this video. I'm here tonight for the Not Too Shabby design team, and I'm going to be creating a card or several cards with this stamp from Picket Fence Studio. This stamp is called Swallowtail Beauty. And to start, I'm going to be ink blending some backgrounds, and I have an assortment of Distress Oxide inks here in a rainbow color, and I'm trying to pick out the colors that are the most pastel. So you see that I'm looking at them and I'm trying to decide. And this is spun sugar, so we're going to start off with that one. So what we're trying to do here is just create sort of a rainbow background. And then we'll stamp the gigantic stamp, which is Swallowtail Beauty by Picket Fence Studio. We'll stamp that onto the panel once it's been ink blended, and then we'll go ahead and do some embossing, and then the card will be done. So this is a pretty easy card to create because basically you're just working on your backgrounds and then you're stamping and embossing. And if you don't want to create a background of your own, you can always just use colored paper or pattern paper. You don't have to do this ink blending. Or you can just do one color of Distress Oxide, or maybe just two. I just wanted something that looked like a rainbow. So I picked up the spun sugar first, then the worn lipstick. Now this is spiced marmalade, so it's not of an as an intense of an orange as the other two that I had there. And then after this, I'm going to grab some squeezed lemonade, which is a yellow color. And these are the makeup blending brushes. Now, I got these off of Amazon, and they're very inexpensive off of Amazon. And they've worked out fine for me. I just take and rub them on a piece of paper towel or a scrap piece of paper to clean them if I feel like I need to between uses. But I have one brush for every color family. So here's my green, then my blue. And so I was lucky enough to come across one from the Dollar Tree of all places, and I liked the handle of it better because it was firm. These makeup blending brushes, they're fine, but the handles are a little bit too flexible to do any kind of really good ink blending, at least for me anyways. So I tried to see if the Dollar Tree would have any more like that one that I found. But so far I haven't had any luck. I think the crafters pretty much see them and they're gone. Once they see them and they see that they're back in stock, they buy them all up for $1 each. You can't blame them. That was cracked pistachio. And for the blue, we're going to use tumbled glass, which is the pastel blue. And then for the purple, we'll use I think it's wilted violet. I'm not sure. I'll be able to tell you here when I see again the oxide ink pad, because right now we're just on the blue, and this blue is tumbled glass. What I ended up doing was, let's see, that's shaded lilac. Yeah, I was getting that confused with wilted violet. This purple that I picked is called shaded lilac. And it's not perfect ink blending by any means, but really it doesn't matter because the stamp is so large and it covers pretty much the entire card panel. This is going to be a 5.5 by 5.5 card. And the stamp pretty much covers the entire thing and needs to be trimmed just a little bit. So I'm not too worried about the blending, and that it doesn't have to be perfect for this technique. All right, I'm going to use some Brutus Monroe Pearl Embossing Powder and my anti-static powder tool and my Misty, and going to go ahead and stamp this. So you'll see how big this stamp is when I get it out of the package and get it lined up in accordance with my paper. And it was hard to get it off the backing because it's such a big stamp, but it came off just fine then. I did do 4 different cards, so if you'll just stay tuned to the very end, you'll get to see all 4 of them. I used pearl embossing powder, which is sort of an iridescent embossing powder, but it actually ended up looking just like clear. Here's another style of blender brush. This one I got off of Amazon. It's more of a short round blender brush, and basically I'm just trying to blend everything together here one last chance before I stamp. Don't forget to use your anti-static powder tool bag. This way you will be able to keep powder from sticking and clumping together where you don't want it to. So yeah, this is a big stamp. Makes a big statement. And I'm trying to see whether I'm getting any embossing ink down on the panel. I'm not seeing that many, so I switch over to my VersaFine ink pad. It's really sticky. It's pretty dirty, but it doesn't matter. It's just stained a little bit from when I had heat embossed something with gold, and I heat embossed it like 3 times in gold. So each time I did it, a little bit of that gold embossing powder would stick. After this, I feel I have a pretty good impression, and I grab a sheet of scrap paper and I grab my pearl embossing powder and I cover the image. And it takes a couple tries because those little jars of embossing powder are only 1 ounce, and that only goes so far when you're dealing with a card this big. So I still have to get the bottom half of this card covered in that embossing powder. And it's really starting to look nice. You can just tell it's going to be a really nice card. And this is even before we turned the heat on and embossed the embossing powder. Okay, so I'm going to grab my heat gun, and we're going to see that this looks a bit transparent, and it is. I'm just cleaning up some embossing powder here. It is iridescent, but it's pretty transparent. This pearl embossing powder looks probably better on a darker cardstock than on something as light as this, because those inks that I blended are pretty pastel color. When I started to heat emboss this with my heat gun, I went from the bottom, and you can see it changing. That's the magic of the embossing process, the heat embossing. It gives a shiny look to the image that you stamped, and it gives it sort of like a wet look. Sort of watermarked. This reminds me just of a watermarked look because it's not considered clear embossing powder. It's called pearl, but it's pretty close to clear. It just has a little bit of extra shine to it. That's why it's called pearl. So yeah, this turned out really nice. And at the end here, you won't see me finish the card because the video is getting kind of long and I wanted to speed things up. So I just go ahead and stop here and say, I'll be back with the finished product here at the end of the video. But yeah, it turned out really nice. It's pretty the look of a watermarked image, I think. It's pretty striking. And here's what it looks like when I put the sentiment on it. And this sentiment says hope. And I just had a die cut with the shadow in the background from the Stamps of Life. Now this one I used VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink, and I only stamped it 1 time. And it kind of has a distressed look. So it's not as solid of a stamped result, but that's okay with me. I like it looking distressed. I think it turned out really nice. What a contrast it is to see how it looks distressed. I think it looks really cool. That one says create. Next one is probably my favorite, the white heat emboss. This is Alabaster Brutus Monroe embossing powder, and it really stands out, I think. And the word is believe. And I used pink for the background or shadow of the word and cream colored for the letters. And this one is heat embossed with black embossing powder, which is Raven from Brutus Monroe. So there you have it. The same stamp, used 4 different styles. One with a clear embossing powder, one with a distressed look, one with black embossing powder, one with white embossing powder. But this stamp, I think I'm going to get a lot of mileage out of. I think it's going to really be put to good use. Oh, and I wanted to tell you, check out my description below, because Not Too Shabby Shop sells this stamp, and you can get a 10% discount off your order for most items in the Not Too Shabby Shop. There are some exclusions. If you check the website, it'll have more information about that. Jamie, the owner of Not Too Shabby, also has a rewards program. So every time you buy stamps there or supplies, you do get reward points towards future purchases. So there it is. There's our 4 cards and our beautiful swallowtail butterfly stamp from Picket Fence Studios. And again, you can find this in the Not Too Shabby shop. I'll have the link below in the description box for more information. Thanks everybody for watching the video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.